Martha Ann Rollins, and today I have with me Mary Taylor, who has just written a new book called Seek Me, Find Me. And I'm so excited about talking to you about this today.
Thank you. I'm really looking forward to this interview.
So, Mary, tell us a little bit about you and what led up to the inspiration to write this book.
Well, I have had a life that has gone up and down, where I have experienced some things that I wanted to change in my life. And I had to get to the bottom to come up. And so what led me to this was that, I had gone through the theme of the law or a religious type of teaching, going into grace and not really understanding what grace was, and then wanting more. And so, I started to, look as to, okay, there has to be more. I wanted to have a relationship with God. So what led me up to this was me getting to the end of me and me wanting more of Him. Yeah. And so that is what has gotten me to this point, and just searching. I learned a lot from Jim Richards and dealing with heart physics and how that has helped my heart to grow and change and to grow closer to God. So all this whole journey, through my life, and I'm still on it. I haven't arrived, but just getting tired of being sick and tired. And that is what has, set me on this. And I felt that others would also benefit from this. And so because, I feel that they will benefit and they can develop and build their relationship, this would just really, expand the kingdom of God. And that's our purpose here.
It's a win-win on both sides.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Because we don't grow unless we're helping build up somebody else.
That's right.
A continuum of give and receive.
Yes.
So, when I looked through your book, which I'm very excited about, by the way, the first thing we talk about is the Shekinah, the glory of God. Can you tell me a little more about that?
Well, when I look or think about the Shekinah, I think the goodness of God, His manifested presence. And so, I just learning a little bit more about that led me to seeing that, He's with me all the time.
Yeah.
And so when, so I just thinking about it, He's here right now. Okay. And so that is helping me to relax because He's right here with me. And so His manifested presence helps to lead and guide me on ways that I need to go in life. Instead of going left, I need to go right. And so He's always there to help me. And so that Shekinah glory, what happens is that because He's here in me, He shines through me. Yeah. And so others sees it. And so they want to know there's something different about you.
Right.
And so because of that draws them into Him. So that's how I kind of look at Shekinah glory as. But the book goes into it a little bit more than what I'm talking about now. I feel that a person can go in and read the book and really understand it, maybe even more than what I'm saying. But I'm just me knowing that He's right here with me, and He is leading and guiding me, and that He is helping you guys to see Him work through me.
Well, when I looked through it, I felt like it could inspire people to go even deeper.
Yes.
And that's what it starts, that spark of, ooh, I want this, and I want more of this. Yes. And to experience it. You talk about the difference between being scared of God and walking in the fear of the Lord.
Yes.
This is a very important topic. I'm so glad you touched on that in this book.
In my legalistic upbringing in church, what I was taught that I should be afraid of God, not looking at him as a father, not looking at him as someone who loves me. And so, when we are, yes, we're supposed to have a reverence. And that's the kind of fear that, that the word is talking about, not the kind of fear that we feel that if we do something wrong, he's going to strike us down.
Yeah.
And he's a loving father. He's a father that wants the best for us. So this is the kind of fear and reverence and encouragement that we get from him as our father. And so that fear that I once had has been replaced with just love and adorance. And, so I just, just want to praise and be around him because I'm no longer afraid. He's my protector, not someone who's chasing after me because I've done something wrong. And it's not like I do everything right. So even when I do something wrong, I run to him instead of away from him.
Yes. Relationship instead of just dictatorship.
Yes. That's it.
Great. Yes. And what about people who just say, I can't hear God. I can't hear him. Something's blocking me or whatever. I like that your book, talks about how people can get in touch with hearing the Lord speak to them.
Yeah. When I think of some reasons why we can't, we haven't been taught, or we don't believe. Another one is, I think in terms of we're not on the same frequency. And so if you think about a radio station or a TV station, it's always transmitting whether we have it on or not. And so God is the same way. He's always transmitting. Now, it's up to us to get in line, get our hearts in line with his so that we can hear him. And it's not a thing of ears, although he can speak audibly, but it's not about our ears, it's about our heart. And so when we get our heart in line and on that frequency, it's like you can't help but hear someone who's in you. How can you not hear? He's that close, So those are things that when people say that, I can't hear him, I just think that maybe, they haven't been, haven't been taught, not on the correct, frequency. Their heart is not, in line with his, or they don't believe that that's even possible.
Yeah. They have to be willing to believe. That they can hear.
For sure.
And that's the place they start, I think, and talking to someone or reading your book will help open up, I think, their ideas about how it's possible.
Yes.
And once they believe it's possible, then they can go from there.
Yes.
So what do you think are other applications for your book?
In a Bible study type of lessons where people could, work together, learn together, give examples of different experiences. And it's a fast read. It's not very complicated. The words aren't, so, gigantic, enormous, or, over educated, where people, feel that I don't understand this. I feel that it's at a level that all God's children, whether you've gone to college or you're just in grade school.
Yeah.
And so I really feel that anyone who wants a relationship, with God, will be able to take this learn something from it and even pass it on to others, where they can become disciples. And that's what we're supposed to be doing, being a disciple of God. And, where we help others to grow and move toward Him.
I can see how that it could be used in a small group study,
Yes.
or in just in a home meeting.
Yes.
And they say, since we're so stressed, if someone's going through something, they don't need big, long words or hard to understand. So I really like it that your book could actually meet someone in their stress and they could still understand it.
Yes.
I think that's beautiful about that.
Oh, thank you. It's God.
The glory's definitely shining through. Well, and they say that the glory of God, His goodness, is what leads us to repentance.
Yes.
And repentance is just changing our mind,
Yes.
taking on the mind of Christ. And so I find that your book could definitely facilitate that in anyone who decides to read it.
Yeah.
Was there specific inspirations other than what you told me that God that motivated you to put the content you put in there?
I used 1 John 4:17 as a way to imprint that word upon my heart. As He is, so are we in this world. Mm-hmm. So I started looking at my life, and I said, so how is my bank account? How is my health? How do I feel about people? Mm-hmm. So does Jesus love this person? Then I should love this person. Does Jesus worry about finances? No, He doesn't. I shouldn't be worried about finances. Right. Is Jesus sick? No, He's not. No. Well, then, as He is, so am I in this world. So I started that process, and I started to experience these promises in my life. And that's what even helped me to write the book. I mean, or get it published. I wrote it. I was just waiting, like, okay, I'm waiting on money.
Which is another one of His provisions, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And so, and so I'm like, okay, well, God, you're not waiting on anything. So neither should I. And the funds just came out of a source that I didn't even realize that it would come from. And I was just, oh my God. So when things started happening, even with my health, where my body was aching, my knees, my body was, because of the weight that I carry, it was hurting and just making me sick and ill. And so even with that, okay, would Jesus eat this? Would Jesus do? I mean, so I would ask for everything. So it just wasn't for, provisions, but whatever I was having any type of issues with, I would say, okay, does Jesus have this problem? And if Jesus didn't have that problem, well, I said, well, then I shouldn't have that problem, because His word tells me that as He is, so am I in this world. So I would repeat that, and I just started to see those things, and it's not like I didn't put forth an effort to change how I ate. Okay, I had to exercise, I had to do things, but He was there to encourage me. He was there to lead and guide me. Okay, this is a better choice for you to eat, or this is a better exercise for you to get the results that you want. So He would tell me different things as to what I can do to obtain the goal that would walk in line with who He is and who I'm supposed to be in Him.
That is just so awesome how that works out.
Yeah. So that is, what really kind of pushed me into writing it, because I was not seeing those things not only in myself but in other believers. And so I'm like, well, something's got to be missing, because the word is true. And he is not a man that he should lie. So therefore, I should also be experiencing this. And if I can start experiencing this, then I can tell others about it. And that's what I hope this book will help others to gain that relationship, to build that relationship so that they can hear and practice his presence in their life, so that then they will experience all that Jesus died for us to have.
Yeah, and I think it's so integral, the fact that you would sit and ask yourself questions. Asking yourself the right question opens the door for God to lead you in a direction you wouldn't have gone, because we get what we're looking for.
Yes.
Ask yourself the wrong question, you're off on a rabbit trail. And
Yes.
I love that you asked yourself those good questions about first looking at Jesus and then asking yourself what you believed about that and how that you was willing to change. That is so integral to and I love it that your book can help people to ask themselves these questions in the right way. And so I think we're going to hear a lot of good responses from when people start putting it into practical use.
Yes. And that is what I really, pray that happens from this. That is, as my former life, I was an engineer. And so as an engineer, you think in a different way than as a writer.
Yeah.
And so, more logic, mathematics and things of that sort. And the reason that I got into engineering was for money.
Mm-hmm.
That was my goal. I knew that would be a field that I would get paid very good.
Yeah.
And so, but when I was a kid, I was always playing school.
Mm.
So I was always the teacher. The fact that I, went that way because of money, it did not give me the joy, did not give me what I was looking for.
Right.
So I would always go in church. I was, Sunday school teacher. The pastor saw that I had some skills of teaching, so he would let me bring a message every now and then. So there were different things that I did. I was getting some satisfaction, but it was still like he was pointing me. You have to do something. Go this way, and I was resisting, and I resisted because I never felt that I was a writer, even though I would tell stories as a teacher. Mm-hmm. Tell the little kids in Sunday school and tell them a story, about what was in the Bible. But I never took that and wrote it down. My mom was a storyteller. So that was something that I learned automatically, but that is, sometimes we're on a path for one reason. And, we have to gain the trust of God to take the path that is in his will. Just as Jesus did not want to go to that cross. Okay, but he did it for us, and he did, the Father's will, not his will. And I had to get to that point of, okay, did Jesus take a chance? So I'm constantly asking these questions, and so that is something that I hope that others, when God tells you, this, is the path that you should be on, you trust him. He is not going to hurt you. He only wants the best, and knowing that, he in his word, he says, I know the plans I have.
Oh, yeah.
And so because he knows those plans, he can see around that corner and see what we need to avoid. And so I look at that and like, okay, yeah, what's up ahead, and so only thing I have to do is just stay connected to you. Well, you said you never leave me or forsake me. And once I, believe that, that is so important. And yes, it can be scary, and it's something that I do good sometimes, and sometimes I don't. I haven't obtained perfection, and I never will until I see Him.
Right.
In heaven. When I leave this earth, that's when that will, everything will manifest. But on this earth, I feel that I'm still on this path until the day I leave.
And I think that's what put us all on equal footing. We are all imperfectly ourselves, and He makes up the part that is the perfect part. So we don't have to try to be perfect.
No.
And I think one thing I can see that perhaps if a younger person got your book and began to put it into practice and began to be able to hear God, they could get on their path sooner.
Yes.
And so that is exciting about how that could relate to someone else. And so, and the fact that it is, it could be understood easily by Gen X or anyone young. It's not wrote to such an age group, that is older. It applies to every age that can read.
Yes. And that's what I'm really, happy that, it is, those words that He gave me, I was, trying to be something, where I thought, well, maybe, this is for maybe pastors, teachers, or whatever, but no, this is for everybody. And and that's what He wants. He wants everybody to come to Him. Yeah. It doesn't, it's not a title. It's not, He wants everybody. And that's what, I'm just hoping that, this book does that in this world, and that we can start to see more people loving God, experiencing His love, and just passing it on. And that's basically what happens, is that when we experience it, it's like we've made a great chocolate cake recipe, and we want to share it with everybody. And because it's so good and delicious, and we know it's the kind of chocolate cake that if you eat it, you won't get sick. Or, that's the kind of chocolate cake where you don't have to worry about your weight. That's something that somebody wants to try. Oh, you mean it has these benefits? And, and that's what His word says. Don't forget about His benefits. Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to people's reaction and response. One of my associates was asking me, well, how much money are you making? And I was, my eyes got, I said, well, it's not about the money. I said, because I went to engineering for money. I said, I understand that when people buy, that there will be transference of funds. I said, but that it's about God. It's about showing them God and who God is and how they can have a relationship, and that's the purpose. That's my, the goal of this book, is to introduce God to others that is already within them. Now, I would even feel that this book could help unbelievers, and that's what, letting them know that, once you connect to Him, this is the benefits from that connection. And so I'm hoping that it would be something that unbelievers or people who are maybe even confused about who He is, will be able to read and get a better understanding of who He is and who we are in Him.
Right. Yeah. And also, you're fulfilling the Great Commission. You're sharing the love of God. You're laying up treasures in heaven. Whatever benefits financial that the Lord deems to send to you, that is bonus. The other is the whole goal, and God is always faithful.
Yes. Oh,
You
yes.
don't get
I
one
mean,
without the other, but shooting for his purposes is always the best first goal. Because like you
yes.
said, when you chose to go into engineering, it was for money. And so then you had to come back around to fulfill your heart's desire.
Yes. 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 And that is, but most people, don't like to do that. And I didn't want to. I will admit that, I, asked him, I said, well, I'm going to have to take some baby steps. He helped me with that. He didn't try to push me and rush me.
Yeah.
He knows us. He knows our heart. He knows what our fears. He knows all of these things about us that he wants us to be successful. And so when I just, when I'm truthful with him and let him know, I can't do that. I don't have that skill. Well, he sees that skill in me. And he knows what to do or what to, how to lead me to bring that out in me. But I have to trust him. And so that's what that's what I've been learning. And I'm still learning. And I'm learning even more about who I am in him. Right. I mean, and that is just awesome. I mean, every day I wonder, okay, so what are we going to learn today?
It does bring an excitement into your life where he is leading and you get to do this hide and seek wonderful game where he gets to be the daddy and we get to be the kid.
Oh, and that's awesome, because as a grown up, this world, says you have to act a certain way. Yeah. and I, there are times when, he and I are out there and I'm swinging on a swing.
Yeah.
And, there's other little kids out there and there's some other kids, but I mean, I'm the only adult on the swing, and I had to get to a point where, I'm his kid. and there is nothing wrong with swinging on the swing.
Yeah.
And so, so those thinking about what others think about you will hinder you from receiving so much joy and peace and, all of the promises that Jesus died for us to have, because we're concerned about, well, someone's gonna think that I'm crazy or think bad of me. And, people will still do that, but I know who I am in him.
And I love it that the fact that the deeper you get seeking him and finding him, the wonder in you can come alive.
Yes.
Because you're finding your life through him, and he is always going to be exciting. He's always going to be fun, and he is going to refresh you. And
yes.
The world wants to put you in a box and make you be an adult all the time and take the fun out, and he's there to give life. And part of that is a lot of fun.
Yeah. And he says life more abundantly.
Yes. We were created to live in joy.
Yes.
When we don't have joy, we will look for a substitute. And you know all about that. Great extent, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Because in my life of ups and downs, I used to do drugs. And so because, I was trying to find, some escape in something that would kill me, that took all my money, took my health, took all of the things that he died for me to have. And I, when I got to the point, as I said, when I got sick and tired of being sick and tired, that I had to, get to that point where it's like, okay, there's more to this. I have to know that, someone does love me besides my mom and dad. Okay. And where I knew that, he loves me even more than them because his was unconditional. So he did not, even though, I still make mistakes. He doesn't say, you know, you're going to get a spanking, I'm going to put you in punishment,
Yeah.
you know, go to your room. He doesn't tell me those things. You know, he helps me to remember who I am in him. That's not what a righteous woman would do. You know, righteous women, you know, righteous people, you know, as Jesus is, so are we in this world. You know,
Exactly.
So, and as we were talking about, you know, in, you know, the joy that he gives, you know, I was looking at Psalms 15:11, that you make known to me the path of life, and in your presence is fullness of joy, and at your right hand there are pleasures forevermore. And so that is, you know, his presence, just joy, you know, pleasure forevermore. I mean, who wouldn't want that?
Right? And we do need it.
Yes.
And that's why if we don't get it from the Lord, we're going to find a substitute.
Yes.
And I love it when that your book can help people connect to God, hear him, and enter into this joy, so that they don't go choose a substitute, or it gives them the strength to let that go. Because they have the authentic, they have the real, and they don't need the counterfeit anymore.
That's right. Oh, yes. And that is what I had to get to that point, that even in, you know, people may have issues with, you know, sex, drugs, and other things that are not healthy for them. And you know, God does give us an alternative that doesn't make us sick, that helps us to continue to move in a positive direction, you know, and motivates us, loves us. And so I really, you know, am hoping and praying that this is what people get out of this book.
So how can people purchase the book? Where do they need to go to get it?
Okay. Well, they can message me, so they can actually purchase it from me. They can also go to the my publisher's website, True Potential, and they can buy the book there. And the publisher has a deal where if you buy one, you can, you know, get a discount on the second one. So you can buy one for someone else.
Oh,
and the last but not the least, Amazon. So that's, you know, that's another place. So those are places where, you know, you can, you know, get the book.
There's plenty of time to get it for Christmas.
Yes.
So this would be a great gift, even a graduation gift for a graduate next year. There's great ideas for helping them get on the right path for life and being led in that path by God.
Yeah.
And there are people I know that they're going to college for the first time, and I have several friends who did start a Bible study group in their dorm.
Yeah.
This would be a great book for that purpose. It's not too heavy because I got a lot of other studies. I love it that this is light enough to be able to make the rest of it make sense.
Yes.
Without being too much on your reading list. Because I'm telling you, when you start college, you don't need an extra book.
Well, that's for
and so this one is light enough. Like you said, the first part is the reading is over. Then it's the walking it out, which is the fun part anyway.
Yes, that's right.
I want to thank you for giving me your time and for writing this book, for the sacrifice and stepping out in faith where you was believing God for great things on behalf of your journey and sharing your story and your heart with the world. And so, do you have any closing remarks that you that just that would sum up your greatest hope for this?
Well, I'm hoping that transformation takes place in this world. This is a seed that I feel that will help to grow great plants that people can hold on to and hold on to God and transform this world where we can see heaven on this earth.
That's lovely. I also think that your book is going to bless God because He's hungry for this relationship. And so any way that you have to inspire people to reach out to know Him is blessing His heart. So that brings me great joy too.
Yes, me too.
Well, thank you so much, Mary.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate you taking the time and, wanting to read the book and that you read it. And I'm so thankful. Thank you very much.